line, the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Mississippi, Delbert Hosemann, joins us. Delbert, how are you doing today?
Well, we're down here at the Capitol working on the budget and trying to work on funds and all kinds of different things. It's been a busy morning this morning.
You know, you don't sound like you're in nearly a bad enough mood to have spent the morning working on the budget.
You know, I'm starting to get in a place. There's nobody down here. We've got 2 or 3 staff, and we're all socially distancing. So we could have, each of us could have one whole floor of the Capitol, and we'd be fine. It's just us people down here working. But I always have thought that we will break out of this in a positive manner. So I'm really trying to focus on what happens when we come out of here. I mean, where are we going? How can we help kids get educated? How can we help broadband get expanded? And how can we help businesses get back on their feet? And just a whole list of things, and try to balance the budget. We're like everybody else. We have less income and our expenses stayed the same. So we're just like any other business. We're short. We're short dollars. So we're going to have to. Philip Gunn and I wrote a letter last week to all the agency heads asking them to be critically careful of their dollars for the rest of the year, and we're getting good responses from that. The agencies are trying not to spend one penny more than they have to continue on, and everybody's tightening their budget and trying to get through it.
Well, in the midst of all this, one of the big topics that everybody was focused on before the pandemic took over everybody's attention and everybody's time was the prison system and what we needed to do about it. Are we still going to have the funds, do you think? I know you don't know quite yet. Are we still going to have the funds to make some kind of substantive change in that setup?
Very bothersome to me. I went to Parchman maybe the day or two after the riots this year and went through Unit 29, and I think, and then we appointed Juan Barnett, who's our chairman, and Daniel Sparks as 2 Senate chairman and vice chairman to go into the corrections reform. They have been working really hard on this. It is clear to us that we can't repopulate portions of Unit 29, that it needs to go away, and that we need other sources. Currently, they have been moved to a higher expensive Tutwiler prison, private prison, which is running about, $15 a day higher than what it was per prisoner. And so we do have some expenses. The corrections, I got a letter from the temporary head of corrections that they were $23 million short, but that was about a month ago. And there hasn't been any movement. There's been nobody selected to head corrections as of today. And we have prisoners sprinkled out on different locations. We've looked at opening Walnut Grove or some other facility. A lot of things our group has proposed to the governor that people within 30 days of getting out anyway that were nonviolent should go ahead and be released if they can, so that we wouldn't have additional medical expenses if the COVID-19 hit the prison system. But there's a lot of uncertainty there. We do not have a plan right now, or a number right now. Although we've got a lot of our senators, I know our senators are, and I think on the House side too, have been working on trying to get there.
Well, and then you layer in on this, and like you said, we're in a time of uncertainty because we don't really have the numbers. And I think you had said before, when you and I talked a couple of weeks back, that part of the plan with restarting the legislative session, you're going to wait until June so you have all the numbers that you can possibly have to make the budgetary decisions, even though you have to start working on it now. Is that still the plan?
It is. We've decided to come back on May the 18th or sooner if we need to, depending on what emergencies or economics occur. But we decided to come back on May the 18th, and Philip Gunn and I sent out a notice, I think Monday, about that to get our senators and House members scheduled. Let them schedule themselves. They all have different businesses they're working in. So we'll come back on the 18th. That's, I think, 44 days or 46 days before the end of the year. That's how many days we have left in the session. The first couple of weeks will be spent on general bills. House has sent us their bills. I've sent Senate bills down to the House, so we'll work on each other's bills and either pass them or change them. And after that, probably the next couple of weeks in June will be spent solely on the budget because we're going to be so challenged. Very difficult decisions. Kind of one of those things you never want to put yourself in the position of where we have a significant downturn that is not over. Everybody needs to continue to follow the governor's orders, but we will have a significant amount of money, and everything that we wanted to do and I wanted to do is not going to be able to be funded this year. And so we're going to have to prioritize. And I think generally our priorities are education, health, safety, and the business climate, getting our people back to work. Those are the things that we'll prioritize, and some things we wish we could have done that we're not going to be able to do.
Well, and that's the problem moving forward. And hopefully this won't still be an issue next year for the legislative session, but we can only deal with 1 year at a time, especially a year like this because, Delbert, I don't know about you, we're dealing with the pandemic, and then we have one set of tornadoes, then another set of tornadoes, then a third set of tornadoes. It's just like we're stacking crises up one on top of another, and at some point we've got to catch a break, right?
Yeah, I told somebody if locusts show up down here on the Capitol, I think it may be the end. You know, I just you're right. I can't really recall. We usually would have like a horrible event, like a Katrina event, or a Smithdale tornado event where we had like 30 tornadoes in one day. But that was usually one per annum. And now this pandemic has just exponentially expanded our issues that we have here. Those tornadoes were horrible. I was in Jeff Davis and Jones and Jasper, and they were horrible. I'm going down to Lawrence County tomorrow with Senator Doty and to look and just be there and tell people that we care about them. But it's a horrific, hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm going to be pleased if we had at least 70% of it covered by insurance. So we had significant capital losses to a lot of people who could not afford that, and at this point in time don't even have a job. So it is just horrific, the position that the health issue and the weather issues have put Mississippi. And we're not guaranteed that there's not going to be a hurricane this year. In fact, the Gulf of Mexico is hotter apparently than normal at this point.
You know, if you keep talking like this, I'm just going to hang up on you.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is that we will get through all of this, and we will come out stronger and better. And every time I go to one of these tornado things and try to help and visit with some people, you see the American flag being posted, sometimes even in broken branches. You'll see it hung. And our people are resilient and faith-based and help each other. We will come out of this on a better thing. I can give you an example of that. I went outside and saw we have a replica of the Liberty Bell out in front of the Capitol. There were 50 of them made in 1950 in France and brought here, and ours sits out on a stanyard right out in front and has a caliper on it. So I went out there and was fooling with it, and it rings. And I thought, wouldn't this be cool? Let's ask all the churches to ring their bells. And every church did, hundreds of them. And people went out in front and rang bells. We would get Facebook and posts and things like that sent to us where people were out in their front yard, out in the country where nobody else was, ringing a bell. And I think that the sound doesn't carry the virus, but it carries uplifting. It made a difference in our spirits, I think, to have that go on until April the 20th. And I think it just showed that Mississippians, we're going to be fine. There'll be a new normal some kind of way, but we'll get through this and we'll be better.
And, you talking about that, I got a buddy of mine down in Pike County, Chris Smith, every day, and he had it on Facebook Live. Every day he rang that bell.
They did. Some bells that hadn't been rung in 100 years, and they fixed them up and started ringing them. And it brought us all together to realize it was in support of healthcare workers. It was a hope that we can have the sick get healed, and it was reverence. It was Easter week, also rebirth. And I'll tell you that when I would sit down here at night when I'd ring that bell, and we had others. Luann Woodward ran it. The General Brawls ran it one night. And we'd have others down here. We'd ring that bell, and you'd hear all over Jackson all these church bells pealing. It just uplifted your spirit. We'll be fine. It's just very difficult times.
Yeah, it's hard to see that sometimes, but you're right. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann, we appreciate your time today, sir. Now get back to work on your empty floor at the Capitol.
I'll do that. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great day.
You